this train, years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame, cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed, all the squad here to play, and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say, I don't push pause, no I push play, I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make, I turn flaws into flawless traits, I build tall, never capping space, I won't stop till I hear him say,
welcome in. Sorry guys, we're running a little bit behind, but welcome in. How's everybody doing? How are you doing, Kimberly?
Doing well. How about you?
I'm doing well, except it's cold here in Detroit. Girl, it's cold. It's like 52 degrees right now. What's it doing there in the Carolinas where you are?
Same 54 degrees. I had to turn my heat on.
Girl, yes, indeed. Don't put all your winter clothes away yet, because it
Right.
was close to like 80 degrees here earlier this week, or last week. But what about you?
It was about 2 days ago. We were in the 80s. It was so hot.
Guys, drop down if you're in the chat. Drop down. Let us know where you are. What's the weather? How's the weather weathering where you are? If you're in the UK, if you're here in the States, if you're in Canada, if you're in the Caribbean, if you're in South Africa, wherever you may be, drop down in the chat and say hello or let us know how the weather's weathering. Well, what did you make of this episode, this final reunion part 2? What did you make of it?
I really feel that we didn't get the ending that we deserved. It was already
No,
average,
not
a
at all.
below average season. And I was really hoping that the reunion would maybe bring us together, give some clarity and accountability, but we couldn't get it because I'm still left with who's the liar, who's lying. It's like both sides are not telling the truth.
Right. Yeah, I'm right in the chat. Guys, drop in the chat and let us know, what do you rate this season? If you're watching live, if you're on the replay, what grade or what rating would you give? Like, if you were to give a grade, Kimberly, what grade would you give this?
The reunion, oh,
Yeah, the reunion, this second part.
yeah, it did not pass. I might have to give it
Ooh, child.
a C or a D.
Mm, you say what? Say that one more time. Say again.
I would have to give it maybe a C or a D. It didn't do well.
Yeah, I'm gonna say a C minus. I would give it about
Yeah.
a C minus. You're right. I think, and if you were to compare this one to part one, how would you say that this did compared to what we saw last week's episode, reunion part one? How would you rate it? Was part one better than part two?
I say yes. I believe because I had so many like high expectations for part two because I was like, oh, I know they're gonna get to the bottom of the thing. We're gonna have something to hold on
Hmm.
to and talk about, and nothing, just nothing.
I agree with you. I do agree with you. I think there's always that anticipation, and even when you
Yes.
leave off part one, you feel like, well, okay, if they didn't get to, because we knew we
Hmm.
could look at the setup from last week's episode, and we knew that we didn't get to Lauren and Orion, so we were expecting to get a little bit more out of them. We left off at the very they kind of teased us a little bit with Emily and Brennan, so that we didn't get everything from their situation in their marriage. So
Right.
I agree with you on that. Hey there. Hey, Monique King. Welcome in there, moderator extraordinaire. That's right. Tell those folks what to do, girl. Like,
Yes.
share, and subscribe. Exactly. And comment. So yeah, I agree with you. I think that last week's episode actually was a little bit better, but we did get some interesting tidbits. Finally, a lot more detail came out about Brennan and this the Brennan and Cameron and the double date. They talked about that a
Hmm.
lot more. And then there was something to me that was new added. I don't remember if they talked about this on the after party. And you could tell me, Kimberly. What about the whole thing with Emily's friend Lily and Brennan?
Right. I'm just blown away because we spent so much time talking about Emily making out with the or the random guy at the bar. So we
Hmm.
really didn't get to focus on Brennan and the friend. But I believe Brennan in this situation
Too.
because I think it was just an innocent little jokey joke that Cameron said, and the ladies somehow got wind of it and took it and ran with it and tried to add more to it than it really was.
I think so too. And I'm going to tell you who I blame for all of this. Okay, guys, you can be angry with me. You may not like it, but I blame Claire for all of this. I believe you're right. I believe Cam, and I believe Brennan when
Brennan.
when they say that they were at Union Station and they saw these two women, and then that Cam with his, because he has a weird filter anyway. Let's just say that
Yes.
has a very weird filter. Being fun, I don't know if part of it, I believe it is societal, or with the word, not societal, cultural, because he is from New Zealand. He grew up in New Zealand. He has New Zealand values, and a lot of people are telling me that New Zealand men are very much like, they believe in equality for women, and that's why he didn't get her luggage. Going back to the very beginning with the honeymoon, that's why he didn't get Claire's luggage, because they don't do that. That's not
Mhm.
they normally do. And we're trying to overlay our American value system
Right.
over a New Zealander, okay? And then
Right.
we see he has a very dry sense of humor. So sometimes I think that Claire, in the beginning, I don't think she got when he was joking with her, because when I noticed it from day one that he has a very dry sense of humor. That's
Mhm.
typically also a British New Zealand type of thing too, because like
Yes.
if I watch Benny Hill or some of the other comedians, watch some of their comedy shows from the BBC. It's a dry
Mhm.
sense of humor, and if you're an American and you don't get dry sense of humor, well, you're going to be lost. You're going to be upset because you're thinking that he's serious when he's not.
Right.
So let's go ahead and get these banners up. I'm going to go, that's the way we're doing it now with the banners. So getting back to Emily and Brennan, I said on this banner right here, Emily and Brennan, at the beginning of this episode, they were debating everything. Then did you catch Kimberly when she said to Brennan, I'm an 8.5 and you're a 6? Like, did you get that? Did you believe that? Do you agree? What do you think?
No. And I think she called herself a 10 at one point. And I
She
was like,
did. And in the dressing room with the lady, she was saying, I'm a 10 and he's a 2. I'm a 10. I was like, girl, you
where?
wish you were a 10. Where? Your
Right.
toenail, your big toe is sexy? Because I don't see it. You're missing the chin, first of all. Let's go there. You're missing the chin. Ain't gonna talk about how flat and pancake your behind is. We ain't gonna talk about that because that's cultural again. We're gonna let you slide on that one, Emily. You got
Right.
your weave together this time. So we know you don't have a
Mm-hmm.
lot of hair. You don't have that going for you. But
Yes.
Emily, first of all, let's get this together. Let me just say this, okay? I'm sorry, guys. I got to go in on Emily on this one. You walk
Go in.
out, you walk out in the reunion with a beautiful pink silk dress, right? You don't
Mm-hmm.
have the proper undergarments, honey. Let's start there. You don't have the proper undergarments. You walk like a dude, okay? You plop down in
Mm-hmm.
your seat. You have no ladylike etiquette to go with your flat assets. Okay. So, I mean, like, what, Emily, how are you a 10? I mean, even physically, you're not a 10. I would give you a 7 at best. And to be
Mm-hmm.
honest, and I'm not saying it's just physically, I'm not talking about personality wise. You're a 7 at best. I will say Brennan does look better than you. I'm sorry. Brennan does.
Yeah. In
He looks better
comparison, right.
in
And
comparison.
just even personality wise, because she is so aggressive and she claims she's the most positive person. I haven't seen it yet. Brendan has something to hold on to there.
Yeah, yeah. He's right. She's not positive. She comes across on the screen. She comes across as a mean girl. And I think a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people. Here is the thing. I think a lot of the audience for Married at First Sight, because they go to sleep and because they did this weird thing this season where they didn't have the after party immediately after the show. They
Mm-hmm.
were putting some bride marry somebody from out of the country crazy show that they had, a new reality show that came on. So a lot of people didn't see old crazy Emily with the after party and how she treated KKP, Keisha Knight Pulliam. Okay,
Right.
you cannot treat our black royalty like that, girl. You cannot come on this
Exactly.
show and mistreat Keisha Knight Pulliam on the after party. You did it again on this reunion with Kevin. You
Yes.
apparently have a lot of disrespect for Black people.
Right. And that's what made Emily look so bad because not only could she not get along with Brennan, but Brennan's point was proven during the reunion. Because, like you said,
Yes.
okay, the at the party stuff, a lot of people didn't get to see that. So now we're at the reunion and she's giving Kevin the exact same energy. So now we know that Emily is the problem and Brennan was right. I hate to say it because, I was side eyeing him from the beginning. I was
Hmm.
not a fan of Brennan, but I'm like,
No, you
oh,
weren't.
Emily is way worse than Brennan. So I can let Brennan sleep for a minute because Emily has taken the cake of just being a bad person, really, just the lies. And she kept cutting Brennan off. She wouldn't let him finish his sentences. I think even Lauren had to jump in and say, just let him talk at one
Right.
point.
Right. She did. She did. I think that the problem, and we're going to come to this a little bit later. We're going to talk about this a little bit more. But I feel like Lauren has been duped in this whole thing. I think because
Mm,
she left out early, she left out even earlier than what's his name, than Cameron did. Because remember now, Cameron and Claire made it to the 1 month anniversary, right?
right.
Lauren didn't, and I think because she's getting all of her false information from these other girls in quotation marks, she's getting it from Claire, she's getting it from Emily, and these two are clearly liars. Okay, so she actually believes them when they say, "Oh, my husband's doing this, he's doing that, and the third, he's manipulating me, he's silencing me," and she's over there playing this card of, "Oh my God, he's doing that. What?" It's
Hmm.
kind of like that old game of, what do they call that? What was it? The telephone game. When somebody starts a rumor, right?
Oh, yeah. And then by the time it gets to the end of the line, it's something different.
Something totally different. But this
Yes.
one, but with this one, with the twist being, in my opinion, I honestly feel like from watching this from beginning to end, I feel like Claire intentionally. Here's the twist. Claire, I believe, intentionally misled all of the women. And she
Hmm.
found out that she had a very weak cast. She had a very weak, the women that Claire was with, because Claire is trained in psychology, as am I.
Exactly.
She realized very quickly that she had a group of very weak-minded women. And see, she couldn't have
Hmm.
never done this to me because, first of all, I verified. When we hear Emily saying on stage during this, getting back to Emily and Brennan, when we hear Brennan saying to Emily, "Did you ever ask me about the supposed alleged double date that I went on?" And then we clearly hear Emily say, "Well, no, because I didn't want to
Hmm.
believe it, so I never said
Right.
anything." Like, what?
No, it
Where they
doesn't
do
make
that at?
sense.
Where they do that at? That don't make no sense. If do
No.
you know, if I have a husband and somebody tells me they saw him on a double date, especially somebody I just met on a game show, on
Hmm.
a reality show that I've known all of 2 weeks, do you think I'm going to believe them over my husband? I'm not going to ask him. First of all, I'm not going to give him a chance to clear his name, to explain what happened, to give
Right.
his version and his side of the story. Do you think I'm going to actually do that? That's crazy.
Right. Yeah. I would, like you said, go to my partner immediately. And then that would be something else for her to stand on if it was true later on in the season to say, this is why I'm ending the relationship. It could have added so much fuel to her fight. But no, she just brushed it under the rug, I think, because she knew it wasn't true.
I think she did. I think she did, and that's why I say the twist to the telephone game in this particular case is that I feel like Claire is the manipulator, the master manipulator, as she said last week, and Kim caught her on it, called it a Freudian slip, and he's exactly right, because a lot of times our subconscious will say what we really mean, what it
Yeah.
really is, when we're really trying to say something different. So yeah, I feel like Claire is the master manipulator, and Emily likes to lie. Emily likes to
Hmm.
lie because here's the thing with Emily. Emily has a very weak self-esteem. Emily wants
Hmm.
to say she's confident. She wants to say she's a 10, but when she looks in the mirror, she knows and I know she's not a 10. So let's quit lying.
Hmm.
You are not that
Right.
girl. You're decent looking. I'm not saying you're ugly. You're decent looking.
Hmm.
And even her husband said, Brennan said this in this particular part of the episode. He said, "You know what? When I first saw you, I thought you were nice. I thought you were good looking. You were
Yes.
attractive. But then when your friends at the wedding reception told me that you were selfish, you like to have first night one night stands, that you have never kept a relationship or dated
Mhm.
anybody past 2 or 3 dates. Now, didn't we say this all along? We kept telling people that came here to watch us every week, and some of them got angry with us and said, "But no, but Brennan's he's abusive. He's controlling her."
Right.
Well,
We
tell me what
knew
you
there
think
was
about
more. We knew there was
there
more
was more.
to the story. And like you said, the after party helps us out a little bit because they go into a little more detail. So Brendan just was really holding on and trying to protect her. That's what he said. He was trying to protect her. He didn't want to hurt her feelings. And I think he did the right thing.
I don't know if he did though, because at the end of the day, if you had to go back, if you're Brennan, let's put yourself in Brennan's place. If at the end of the day, if you've seen what we see as viewers, do you really think he did the right thing, or do you think that he should have been a little more open and honest with the when the experts in the counseling sessions was trying to get him to get in touch with his feelings? Like, he didn't have to say, he
Yes.
could have said that he didn't find he didn't find her behavior attractive without going into all the details. But the fact of the matter is, anybody that watched the beginning of this season, they saw Emily talking about that. If you watched the wedding episode, you saw her and her friends telling that she was selfish. You saw her talking about that she told his friends, wait a minute, hold up. I wish they would have shown this doing this is one thing about the reunion I didn't like. They did not show Emily. Emily, out of her own mouth, said that she had one night stands. She
Hmm.
said that she had never had a relationship at her big old age of 30.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, if
And
we
you
if
know,
we if we can, let me just say this. If we can, last season, if we could say about what was his name? The guy that was married to Jasmine last season, that had
oh,
never been in a
Michael,
no, no, no,
was it?
no, no. Last season in Nashville, the black guy,
Oh,
Eris.
okay.
Remember, he had never been in love and had never had a relationship. So if we can look at him and say that's very odd for you to be 30 odd years old and never had a relationship, what do you think
Hmm.
about Emily? Like, who
Right.
does that?
Yeah. And I believe it was probably because she was lying up front to these men, however she met them, whether it was a dating app, whatever. She was probably lying on her profile. And once they met her, that's the reason she didn't get past the first, second, or third date because they saw the real her and then
Yep.
just saw that her lies were not adding up to who she was on these dates.
Not at all. Not at all. And let's talk about this. I've got the next banner up. Let's talk a little bit about this. So, what did you think about Emily when she tries to minimize her cheating and kissing all over and making out with the Australian, which we found out from Becca. We found out this from Becca on the after party. But yet
Mhm.
she wants to say that Brennan was trying to date her friend Lily. So now, what do you think about that?
I think she wanted to do it because, in first place, why would you be that close to a stranger for him to be able to kiss you at a bar? Number one. And if it was just so simple, something you did not want to happen, you were so against it, why not tell the producers, whoever, and why not tell your husband, hey, this is what happened before it got back to him in a negative light? She could have drove that situation and kind of led the narrative, but I think she wanted it to happen, and that's why she denied it so hard, even here on the reunion when Brendan kept asking, like, let's talk about it. And she just kept denying it and beating around the bush. And then finally she said, no, he kissed me. And I'm like, girl, just stop. Because we already
Exactly.
see.
Exactly. And then how close, let's think about this. So let's say he did, if we're going to believe her, you got to think about this for a second. Let's think this all
Mm-hmm.
the way through. Use a little bit of common sense. If this man kissed her, how close does she have to be sitting or standing next to him in order for him to kiss her? Could she have been across the room? Could he have been gazing at her beauty? Because she's a 10. No, she's an 11. She's a 12. Could
Oh,
he have been
goodness.
gazing at her beauty and her weave from across the room, and he was able to kiss her from across the room?
No, nope.
S-
That's the point. Yeah. Why were they that close to
Yeah,
begin with?
yeah, yeah. Okay, Emily. All right, Emily.
Right. In the words of Brennan, golly, he tickled me when he said that.
You got to think about this stuff. Some of this stuff, and I think that's the problem with the viewers are listening and they're wanting to like I feel like a lot of people when I was in Reddit, I've got something up on my over on my community tab page, check that out. And it's so funny because oh no, I'm sorry, it's in my IG stories right now, but I'm going to put it up on my community tab too here on YouTube. But here's the thing, like some people on Reddit were really clocking Emily because if you just think about what she's saying instead of because you feel like she represents you because maybe you're in the same demographics as Emily. A lot of people wanted
Mhm.
to leave Emily for that reason alone. Like I didn't go along with a lot of things that some of the things that Lauren did. You know, like when Lauren laughed in Orion's face about the whole comment about his culture and about the word that was insensitive.
Mhm.
I didn't go along with it. I had a few arguments with people that I know from my channel. They may not even be here anymore because they disagree. Well, you know, she didn't really mean it. She didn't really mean it. No, she didn't really
Uh,
mean it, but that still doesn't excuse it. That doesn't
right.
excuse that Lauren was laughing in this man's face at a
Right.
moment when he was being very vulnerable with her.
Yeah. Yeah. And then when he expressed concern about her using it, she got offended. And I'm like, you offended him. Now, why are you getting offended because he's calling you out on it? Just apologize and keep it moving. But she kept trying to justify why she used those words. And
Right,
that
right,
made
right.
it worse.
It made it worse. Well, you didn't get as angry with Cameron when he said
Right.
and such about the reservation. Girl, is Cameron in the room right now?
Yeah.
Is this man married to Cameron? Maybe he didn't get as upset with Cameron because he clearly said something to Cameron and he gave
Mm-hmm.
Cameron a look. But the fact of the matter is, he doesn't have to lie in bed with Cameron at night. He has to lie in bed
Yeah.
with you though. So
Right.
like there's a whole different relationship. Like if a coworker says something racially offensive to me at work, and
Mm-hmm.
how I discipline or how I respond to that person versus if this is my spouse. That's a whole different level of intimacy between me and my spouse versus somebody I work with at work and I can dodge them and never have to see them again and maybe not interact with them because of
Yes.
their level of disrespect or racism, right? So I'm
Right.
these people make it make sense. Make
Mm-hmm.
it make sense. Um, and then real quick, and we're gonna move on. In the intermission, the Pepto Bismol brigade, Pepto Pink Brigade, as I like to call them, trying to remember their chant. Like they're going, "We are powerful, we are strong," and poor Becca, she just got lost. And of course, Claire, she's got it all memorized because again, this is how she's conditioning these weak-minded women. Like we are women, hear us roar. So it's supposed to be a feminism thing, but like it didn't feel like it to me. Did it feel like it to you, Kimberly?
No, you could tell it was some last minute something that they just threw in there to add to their pink dresses. And it wasn't genuine because if these women were all about their power and really being leaders, they would have stood up and talked. They would have talked more during the season when they felt they were being forced to do something against their will. So it doesn't just flip a switch overnight. So now they're trying to act like they're so powerful and they're just standing up for what's right. But I think they too wanted to go along with whatever the narrative was.
I think so. I think they did. Like something, the thing that we never got out of this, Kimberly, I feel like this. The thing we never got out of this and the thing that I'm beginning to begin to really feel bad about is that some of these women, I think, never really admitted that they wanted maybe the pay from
Oh,
kinetic content. They wanted that weekly pay for to be on these episodes because for example, look at Claire. Claire, midway through her groom, her husband said that he didn't even want to be married to her anymore. And yet she still got the benefit of staying in the apartment, being filmed every week. I mean, like, why were we seeing Claire every week?
right.
Why were we seeing her every week? I hated that. I hated that. But
Mm-hmm.
I feel like these women didn't admit that they liked the clout. They like being on TV.
Mm-hmm.
They like the pampering. They like the trips to the retreats and all the things the perks that went along with being on this international show. They
Yeah.
liked it. They
Yeah.
liked it. Nobody wanted to admit that. Not even the men, but at least in this second part, we saw the men begin to apologize.
Mm-hmm.
Both Brennan and Cameron um, apologized to the therapist. Brennan apologized to Dr. Pia, which I thought was very powerful on his part and very needed because, just like I said, Emily was very smart talking to Keisha Knight Pulliam, and also this
Mhm.
episode to Kevin Frazier, who is a host, and that's his job. He's paid to ask questions, right?
Mhm.
Um, Brennan was very like he was very rude to Dr. Pia during their counseling sessions during the season, but he did apologize. He did come and he did own, and he said exactly why he was apologizing to her. So I could at least appreciate him being honest and being and owning up to what he had done throughout the season.
Yes, I did. And Cameron and Orion also apologized. I love that too. So I
Yes,
like that the men came and they were willing to admit wrongdoing. And it did seem like a genuine apology from Orion as well.
it did. It did. And Cameron, I think it
Yes,
did.
yes.
How did you feel about Cameron? Let me just say I thought Cameron did okay. I thought when he apologized to Dr. That was Dr. Peppers.
Pepper.
He apologized to her. Dr. Peppers or Pepper
Yes,
to be right. But what did you feel about that? Did you think he was being genuine, or how did you feel?
did. You know, like you said, with the culture thing, we're not used to his type of personality. So, with our American eyes, we are willing to nitpick so much. But I really do believe that Cameron was genuinely sorry, and I do believe that he would be willing to try again with Claire. But Claire just is a mess. Claire uses her therapy, her education as a weapon. She uses it at
She
the wrong
does.
times, and
Uses
that's
it
not
for
going to work well.
evil. She
Yes,
uses it for evil. I
yes.
agree with I agree. But now what I will say is this, and one thing we do differ on, Kimberly. I'm going to tell you this.
Mhm,
I felt like it. At first, I didn't get it. I had to watch it, and I had to think about it. I had to process it. And to be fair, I had to also read something that actually clicked with me, and then I got it. Getting back to his type of humor and also
mhm.
his intellect. Okay, Cameron, what he did, I believe, when he said that he still wanted to be married to Claire, he forced her into the corner because that's when she said, "But you know what? I already got a relationship." But what did he tell us about 5 minutes before? He said Claire is in a relationship with her old boyfriend and she was effing him. He didn't say, but they bleeped it out. But we know what he was talking about. She was having intercourse with this her old boyfriend. He said the day before she got married to me, she was having intercourse. She was having intimacy with this guy, hot and heavy time. I believe Cameron, and I
Mhm.
believe that she probably was having it once he left the apartment.
Mm.
So what he did, so here was the thing a lot of people miss. When he told her that he wanted her, he wanted to try to make it work again. Let's try it one more time. I'm in love with you. What he was actually doing was backing her butt into the corner. And she came out saying, "Well, oh, it's too bad because I'm already in a relationship." But she was always in that relationship. This is what I believe. Now I could be wrong. This is
Mhm.
my theory about what he did and why he did it right there on the reunion. Because see,
Could
Claire
be.
is she's very calculated. She
Yes.
is a very calculated, and we know that she's a liar. How do we know that Claire is a liar for a fact? I can tell you for a fact because let's back it up again. First week of them being married, Claire was already saying that we're not attracted to one another, right? You can
Mhm.
look over the Cameron pans over to Cameron, and Cameron was like dumbfounded. He's like, "We aren't. I'm attracted to her."
Right.
So she's been lying, telling that lie from the very get go. She's been saying that
Mhm.
that he wasn't attracted to her without ever even asking him. She never asked him. Not on
Right. I think she
camera.
just
Not on
nope.
camera.
She just asked his type and assumed that he wasn't attracted because that wasn't his normal type. But you can't assume.
You cannot, because you can ask me my type, and I may
Mhm.
say that the guy is, a tall guy of maybe 6'3", this complexion, this type of hair, whatever. I
Yes.
might meet a guy who's 5'10", bald headed, and fall madly in love with him.
Mhm.
Let's be real. Like, how many of us that have a type or have preferences have met someone that is totally not our type, and our friends will even say, "But he's not your usual type," and you're madly
Right.
in love, or you are attracted to him because I think if you're not a shallow person, like some people are,
Mhm.
but if you're not a shallow person, hopefully when you meet someone and the person is kind and good to you and they have other
Yes.
characteristics that you value, the idea is that you can still love that person. You can still be
Yes.
attracted to that person. So
Yes.
I just totally okay. Now one thing where I will say, Cameron, you told some lies or some mistruths, and I don't know for you if this is like your actual belief. I think it's something about you because when you even talked about your father's collapsed lung and it happening after your mother asked your father for a divorce, I think
Mm-hmm.
there's a trigger. There's something wrong in your brain where you're not seeing things realistically. Because, okay, on this part, I've got Cameron says that his heart issues aren't genetic. What did you think about when Cameron said that? That his heart issues aren't genetic, and then he goes on to blame it on Claire.
I don't know. I don't know what to say about that part because Cameron also pulled out the receipts where his heart stopped 3 times. I was not ready. I
And,
wasn't ready for that.
I didn't call. You know what? And guys, you got to get on me. I got to try to check for next week. Because a friend of mine who is a nurse, I wanted to ask her because I had just heard from someone else, but I have to verify this from someone that's in the medical field professionally
Hmm.
that your heart can't be whatever that fibrillator that they can't use it more than twice.
Oh,
You,
wow.
so when he said 3 times, I'm kind of like, okay, Cameron, I don't know about that. But my thing is this though, the things that we do know about what Cameron has told us thus far.
Hmm.
Cameron had COVID and or C19.
Hmm.
He had C19. And a lot of people don't want to talk about this, but C19, if you've had it, here's the thing. A lot of people, there's some people that have what they call long haul effect, right?
Yes.
And Cameron told us, if you recall, going back to the beginning, Cameron told us that he had this. The doctors had diagnosed him with long haul effect, which
Hmm.
means that it has affected your heart.
Hmm.
So now, why he wants to blame it on Claire, this is where I disagree with Cameron. I do not agree with Cameron that it is Claire's fault that she broke his heart. I think that maybe the stress of the show and the stress of Claire being this having these really strong narcissistic tendencies and having these really strong manipulative tendencies, I think all of that might have compounded his heart issue. But I'm just guessing. I'm guessing from what he told us. He told us this early on, before he and Cameron had even he and Claire had even broken up. Cameron told us that he has C19 long haul effects, and I know
Hmm.
if you go look it up right now, go to the Googler and look it up. Part of long haul effects are heart issues. So
Yes.
I think that Cameron kind of exaggerated this on that time.
Mhm. Yeah, I believe it could be either way. You're right. I do hear a lot of people say, heartbreak and they went through relationships and it did hurt them. And I've heard of people say, oh, they died from a broken heart
Yeah.
and little stuff like I've never been in that deep with anybody to make
Mm-mm,
me go
mm-mm.
crazy or feel so negative and depressed.
Yeah.
But I hear it too often that it does happen. So I'm not sure. And I wish we would have got an update on how Cameron's dad is doing now, but we
Oh
didn't.
yeah, I would have liked that. But now,
Mhm.
we do know last episode, last week we found out that Cameron is doing better and he's actually back
Yes.
riding his bicycle again. And now here's the kicker: what I think is interesting, Cam is no longer doing that bike shop thing. Cameron wants to be in the financial institution industry. He's using
Right.
that master's degree. So I think that the whole thing with Claire, I think one thing that he did find out is that American women, maybe unlike New Zealand women, we like a man that have a healthy bank account. We like a man that has
Mhm.
a lot of money. We like a man that doesn't live in the basement and have spiders
Yes.
everywhere. So I think that might have taught him one thing on that. So I'm
Right.
gonna go with that. And then now moving over to Michael. Michael claims that he was not faking his reaction for the runaway bride portion. What did you think about that? Did you agree with him?
Yeah, Michael seems genuine so far from what we've seen. He's very
Yeah.
reserved. He doesn't, say too much. So I believe him for the most part. I'm still just disappointed that it didn't last. And it was pretty much Michael's fault, in my opinion, that the marriage didn't last. So I believe him on that part.
Yeah, yeah, I think so too. I think that he was really genuinely
Hmm.
well, here's a question that I have for you, and you guys out there in the chat too. Go ahead and drop it in the comment. Do you think that Michael was ready to be buried after what we saw with the second, try, the second attempt with Chloe? do you guys think that Michael was ready to leave that single life behind and his $4,000? What was that?
Oh,
$4,000 a month on clothes or $4,000 a year? I was trying to understand what was the $4,000, and then he says to us that it's actually more than that, but he didn't want to scare Chloe. So I'm like, man, this guy's he's really making bank, isn't he? Whatever he does.
he is. And no, to answer your question, I do not think he was ready. And this $4,000 thing, I need to calculate because I think he was talking about a month, but they didn't want to spend. I think it was 4,000 on a house together. So that's
Yeah.
not making sense. Why are you willing to spend more a month on clothing than you are on a place
Mm.
to live and raise your children? That's not adding up. So he was not ready.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, 4,000. So if it was it a month or maybe it's a year, maybe it's
It can't be
annually.
a year because a year, I probably
Mhm.
do that a year.
Yeah, I
four
don't know.
thousand.
That's what I thought. I thought they were talking about a month too. So, but the
That's
thing about
ridiculous.
it is, it was 48. You're right. That a house that they looked at, that I think was only 3 bedrooms and only 2 baths,
Mhm.
something like that. It really was a small house for the amount of money. I do agree with him. If I'm going to pay that kind of money, first of all, I'm not going to rent. Let's go there.
Mhm.
I'm not spending five
Mhm.
thousand on nothing that I'm renting. I don't care
Right.
luxury, whatever condo, whatever. It's going to be something that I own that's in my name and me and my
Mhm.
spouse's name. And B, it's not. It's going to have more than if we're going to have these 5 kids. First of all, it's going to have more than 3 bedrooms, and
Right.
it's darn sure got to have at least 4 or 5 bathrooms too, with all those teenagers
Mhm.
because they're going to
But
be,
yes,
yeah. Go ahead, go ahead.
I think it could be a starter, a good starter home because it's just them two now. I don't think they're going to jump in the next year or two with 5 kids and 5 dogs. I think they could, if he could afford 4,000 a month, they could buy a house real quick if you just
Yeah,
double up
that's
on
true.
some
That's
payment.
true. That's true. That's true. I guess we're gonna have people gonna have different theories about it because I'm gonna say
Mhm.
this. Chloe was saying that she wanted to get them, it sounded like she wanted to get them right away if they were going to stay married. Of course, obviously they
Mhm.
didn't stay married, so good thing they
Ah,
didn't sign a lease on a house.
yes.
I'm also going to say for me, and this is just me, this is the way I've always thought is that
Mhm.
if I know, like if their plan is to have 5 kids at some point, four or five
Mhm.
kids, let's say, or even three, they've got the adults, Chloe and Micah are going to have 1 bedroom, right?
Yes.
So let's say if you were even to take 3 kids, 3 teenagers, chances are they're going to want their own separate room, especially since I'm assuming they're not coming from all the same family. Like let's say you get, one kid that was adopted from this situation, another, all from 3 different families. I'm going to think
Mhm.
they're going to want their own bedroom. So I'm going to say 4. And for me, I'm not like, what's the point of buying a house with less? And then what we're going to move every time we adopt a new kid. I'm not really
Woo.
following that. So I
No,
don't
no,
know.
no, no.
It's a
Right.
lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. One of the things that we see in this, I want to just say about moving along. Lauren jumps in and becomes the mouthpiece during the segment where they break away, and the she becomes kind of like the mouthpiece for the other ladies. Like the
Mhm.
thing I don't like about the women in this whole pink brigade again is how do you as a woman, as a wife, you're married to the one guy, and that was Orion, for example, with Lauren. How are you all up in Emily's marriage? You're all up in Claire's marriage. You're all up in Becca's marriage. Like, let each one of these women speak for themselves. No wonder they need the pink brigade because none of them, like I said again, these women are very weak minded. They don't seem to
Mhm.
be able to stand up for themselves. So I don't understand, like, how are any of you even ready for a marriage if you can't vocalize and speak your truth? How is
Yes.
that possible?
It's not because all across America, at least, you always see people say the number one reason for divorces is finances and communication. So how did they not at least get that part right? Communicate. That's why people break up because they don't communicate. So they should have took this time and at least those 2 pointers and made sure that the communication was on point and made sure that they agreed financially on whatever their future would be. And they just really messed it up. Messed it up big time.
They really messed it up big time. And then what did you guys think about? So we get all the original 4 couples back up on stage with Kevin, minus Cam and minus Austin. Austin, apparently midway through, a couple things happens. He gets sick allegedly. We see the bathroom. We see the sign of the bathroom. Cam is joking, saying, "Well, I think he must have caught something." And then halfway through the episode this time, we notice that Austin has shaved off his whole big burly beard. What's going on?
uh, I didn't like it, but yeah, something happened. And I'm glad you said allegedly got sick because it looked like he was just upset because we even saw Austin push the camera out of the way when he was walking down the hallway. So it
He
looked
sure
like he
did.
just got upset about something.
He sure did. He sure did. Well, if he read the stuff that I was reading, and I just really, I don't know. Like, I feel like with him, I have to really wonder if he's part of the LGBTQTP plus
Mm,
community. Cause like what in the hot saying when you're in bed with your wife 1 minute and then you're at the retreat and you have to go sleep in the football celebrity's bed by yourself. You really make me wonder. Plus, I don't know if you recall last episode where Austin was fawning all over Michael and had put his hand on Michael's leg. Like, where do they do that at?
yeah, it's different. We can say for sure that was different.
He said, well, when they asked the question last week, when they asked
Hmm.
the question if the men stayed in touch with each other, and the men were kind of hemming and hawing, saying, well, not so much. The women said they spoke every day, by the way. Well, of course
Hmm.
you guys do, because you need each other just to pick out your underwear for each day. Like, what color am I going to wear? I got to call Emily and ask her, Emily, should I wear the black underwear or should I wear the royal blue? Like, this is how the women are rolling. But the
Yeah.
men are a little bit more, individualized. Okay, I can appreciate that.
Hmm.
But but this was just a part. It was so funny because Austin was sitting next to Michael, and he said, "Well, we kind of talk," and he laid his hand on his thigh. I was like, "Okay, I don't know, Austin. It's okay. It's
Right.
okay. It's okay. Be who you are. Rainbow power.
Yep.
If the women can do pink power, you can do rainbow power. I promise you. It's
Yes.
okay. It's 2024. It's okay. It's okay. Let's see here. We got let's see what we got here. Okay, the other thing, while the couples were out, Claire claims that her and Cam had a true friendship and a teammate mentality, but that it was created on a rocky foundation of lies and deception. What did you think about that part?
I don't agree. I didn't see a friendship. There was no teamwork there. Immediately in the airport, it was, how is that your friend? And you can't even tell him to, help you carry your luggage if you don't feel comfortable. I just never saw the friendship. I never saw a bond. There was nothing that screamed, oh, they can make it. It was from the beginning, she was nitpicking about his clothes. She didn't like the way he wore the blueprint, or it was different prints or something crazy. So she was always negative towards him from the beginning. That's no friendship.
No, I didn't see it either. I didn't see it either. But once again, see, this is the thing about Claire. Like I said, she uses her psychological skills and her
Yeah.
training to try to recondition and reprogram people's minds. But she thinks that she can tell us, the viewers, this and it's going to fly with us. But no, Claire, I've been watching you for 6 long stinking months, and I see who you are. I see your horns, and I
Right.
see exactly who you are. I see exactly how manipulative you are, and what worked on those weak-minded women, i.e. Lauren, i.e. Emily,
Hmm.
i.e. Becca, it ain't working for this sister over here. Okay?
No.
Okay. All right.
Right.
It ain't working. It ain't
Uh,
working. So move along. Shuffle along, girl. Um, Lauren had a good point though. I love this line, although it was maybe a little out of place. She kind of interrupted Claire as Claire was speaking, and she said that sometimes you just don't get the apology that you deserve. Claire, what did you think about
mm,
that? You recall that when she did that?
yeah. Yeah. And she's right. And sometimes you just can't force it. You won't get it, and there's no need in even trying. You see, oftentimes people want closure, and I believe that's that apology and the explanation that people look for is they call it closure, and it's not worth it. If it's not working, the relationship is over, just let it be. Because as we see with Emily, she begged Brennan to tell her what was going on, what was wrong, and then when he told her, she broke down crying at the reunion because he said, I wasn't attracted to you, and ran down the list, and she still couldn't take it even though the relationship was over.
Yeah. Like I'm like, really? Now that's and now you bring me to I'm gonna get to this banner. We're gonna wrap this up because I got a lot more banners than we have time here.
Okay.
Uh uh let's see what you said it just a second ago about the hold on. You said it. What did you repeat back what you just said just then?
Yeah, just the point about Emily begging Brennan to let her know why he wasn't attracted. And then he told her on the reunion, he ran down the list of, not being attracted to her because of her partners and all. And then she started crying. She broke down crying, even though the relationship was already over. She should not have been that invested still in this relationship.
Yeah, I think the ladies, and I've got Lauren here on this slide, but I'm
Hmm.
gonna just change that orally, verbally to the ladies because I think that um all of the women, the four women at least anyway,
Yes.
struggled this season. The original four brides, so that would be Lauren, Emily, Becca and Claire, they struggle to compartmentalize their emotions. They struggle to compartmentalize the fact that for all four of them, well, the three of them, let me back up, the three of them, not including Claire, but the three of them, their spouses, their husbands just genuinely didn't like them almost from day one.
Mm.
Now, we thought that Austin liked Becca, but let's be realistic. We thought that, but if you really paid attention for the 6 months that we were suffered to watch this, did he ever even really show it besides the kissing? That's
Oh.
all he did. They couldn't consummate the marriage. He wouldn't consummate it. Um, he never went above and beyond. He said that,
Hmm.
and I do believe this about Becca. He said that that girl micromanaged him, and he was getting tired of that. And I could see him getting tired of that.
Yeah. And I
You
could
know,
say they had a friendship because he was,
they did.
somewhat caring. That was the friendship, not anything more than that. There was no romantic scenes. They just kiss, kiss, kiss way too much, in my opinion. And that was it. It was like surface level.
Surface level. And so, and when I talk about Lauren struggling to compartmentalize, let's kind of bring this back to talk about the Lauren and Orion segment. Lauren, I felt like she struggled to compartmentalize uh, her emotions. She struggled to compartmentalize that here's a guy that just doesn't want you. I don't know what who you dated before in the past, or if
Hmm.
you had trouble with breakups. But I think every woman that's a grown woman that's out here dating in the modern dating world, I think
Yes.
we all have to learn to compartmentalize a breakup. And by that, I mean, you have to accept it in the moment. You have to push forward. What I do, like, this is me. Everybody's different. Like, so my one girlfriend was telling me the other day, just went through a breakup, and she said that she's not a person that burns bridges. And
Mm.
I guess I would say I don't burn them, but I just gently let them down. Because so what you're not going to do if we've dated and we've been intimate, you're not going to call me. You're not going to catch me on social media because you've already been blocked. Okay. So you're
Hmm.
blocked from access to me because see, all this idea of men, and this is what a lot of men like to do. They like to so-called uh the phrase spin the block.
Yeah.
They want to spin the block because why? They want access to your body. They no longer
Hmm.
want you, but it's one of two things. They want access primarily to your body. And the second thing is if you're the one that broke up with them, and if any way they felt like they were embarrassed or their egos were hurt, they're also
Hmm.
trying to get back at you. So they're going to do something devilish to you. So why would I want somebody to have that kind of access to me? Why?
Mm.
So I think that for women, I think one of the things a mature woman has to do is learn very quickly how to compartmentalize a breakup. So you do it however works for you, but what I'm not going to do is spend time on somebody, especially if it's just a boyfriend. But in this case with them, it was a husband. But here's the significance of that. They didn't pick the husband. They didn't know them any length of time. They met them at the altar, right?
Right.
So in that case, I'm not gonna be invested in that to that level where, like Lauren, like you're on a TV show and you're falling down on your knees, hands and knees, like a mammy over this Native American guy, this indigenous guy that swears that he's on this platform to just promote indigenous people. Like what?
Hmm.
Why am I all invested in him like that?
Yeah, what was up with the floor crying though? Because Emily did the same thing.
Well, Emily is a fake actress. I really think Emily wanted to be on to blow up her Instagram. When did Emily
Mm.
fall? Wait a minute, back it up, because remind me, when was Emily on the floor crying about Brennan? When? I'm sorry,
It was
I
when,
remember Lauren, but I don't remember Emily. Give me the.
yeah, it was closer to the end when they sat down and had that dinner together. And Brennan told Emily she was a walking red flag. And then she got up and left the table and
Oh
went in the
yeah,
bathroom
the bathroom floor. The bathroom floor.
of
Oh,
all
you're right.
places.
I
And she had
remember.
on a short dress. Her knees was on that dirty
And you know
bathroom
she
floor.
and you know she don't wear underwear, because we already saw that at the
Yes.
bachelorette party. We already saw
Mm-hmm.
that. She does
Mm-hmm.
not wear underwear, so no telling what she might have at this point. But anyway, allegedly. Okay, yeah. I remember that. Well, you know what? That was, for me, the reason why she did that was not so much because I feel like Emily is true what her friends say. Because if her friends can say this and they've known her for years, it's true what they say, that she's selfish and she's self centered. I'm going to add self centered. They said selfish. I'm adding
Mm-hmm.
self centered. Everything revolves around Emily for some odd reason. I don't know why, but for her,
Mm-hmm.
everything. So for her, that's such a low blow to her ego. Because if you
Mm-hmm.
recall on this episode, she also told us that she didn't believe, and he's sitting there telling her to her face on national TV, Emily, I think that you are attractive, but I'm not attracted to you. She said, oh, no, that's not true. That's not true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where they do
Yeah.
that at? Where they
Right.
do that
And she
at?
said they made out daily. And he was like, we made out once. And I'm like, is it once a day? Like, come on now. Something's not adding up.
I believe him. I believe him, because we all said, remember, we all said at the beginning, all of us reviewers and commentators, we all said that we believe something, there was some chemistry and there was something sexual going on with
Yes.
physical going on with those two early on. But you could
Mm-hmm.
see it midway through the honeymoon that he wasn't into her. You could see
Yeah.
it. You could see it because remember, she hurt her arm, and that's when she fell. Now, see, we had it all twisted, because in our thoughts we were thinking maybe there was some kind of DV going on, but really
Mm-hmm.
what it was is that she drinks and she falls and hurts herself.
Right. And
This
who
is
would be attracted to that?
right. This is not Emily's first time go round on the
Mm.
playground. This is
Yeah.
Emily. She not new to this. She true to that drinking stuff. Okay, that's
Right.
her. That's her. Like her and Virginia should get together and hang out. Remember
Yes.
Virginia?
Yep.
This is what she does. So now he said he wasn't attracted to that, and here's the problem with that too. He's not attracted to that because guess what? One of his parents, he's already basically told us at the beginning, is an alcoholic. So why would he be
Mm-hmm.
attracted to
Thank you. Exactly.
that? Ugh. Anyway, I don't know. You got anything else, girl? Because I got cue cards for days, but I'm telling
I
you, it's
know,
just a
right?
mess. These
You know, I
women are
do.
sad. These women are
Right.
sad. They are an embarrassment to womanhood. They need to
Yes.
quit wearing that pink, because you are not representing
Mm-hmm.
me as a woman. You're not representing Kimberly Reviews over here.
No.
You're not representing us. You are not Helen Reddy. You are not We Are Women, Hear Us Roar. You are not none of that. You guys
Yes.
are you guys called it what you really were. You keep
Mm-hmm.
saying girls. If you notice, these ladies keep calling themselves girls. And you are
Right.
absolutely that. You are absolutely high school,
Girls.
middle school girls. You haven't grown up. None of you taking accountability for what happened this season. None of you taking accountability. I still don't understand how the men were able to silence you, allegedly,
Mm-hmm.
quotation marks around that. I still don't understand how the men were able to force you to do all of these things for 8 weeks
Right.
when you didn't even know these men. You had all the time in the world in front of the expert, in front of cameras, to say,
Mm-hmm.
well, this is what's really happening behind closed. Plus, you got cameras in all of these apartments. You got
Yeah.
cameras in every single one of those apartments.
Yes.
You guys just want to be on TV. All of
Mm.
you, the men
That's
and
what
the
it
women.
seems. Yep.
But
Yeah.
anyway, guys, we're gonna try to come back. We've got next week, we got I'm gonna put this up here. We got Tats and we got Lauren and Michael. What you
Yes,
think
we
about
do.
that? Lauren is gonna finally let it be known to Michael that she wants some of what he got, and then she gonna help him spend that $4,000 a month clothing budget.
Right. And you said it. They should give it a try. I'm not hopeful, but we'll see. We will see what happens.
Yeah, yeah, we will. We got to come back and we're gonna see because I was able to convince Kimberly, guys. So you guys go over and support Kimberly. Kimberly, you think you maybe might have time to do the live watch, or is it that
Yeah, I'm
time of
gonna,
the month? Okay.
yep, I'll try to do that live watch next week. Wednesday, we said we weren't, but let's go ahead and do it.
Yeah, let's go ahead. We got to wrap this up. Maybe we'll get, and
Yeah,
maybe who knows? Maybe through watching this last one, I'm gonna be like the women. But I'm after this, I'm gonna compartmentalize and I'm gonna let y'all go. I'm gonna let this all go like I do the men when we don't work out. I let it
yeah.
go. I'm gonna block y'all. I'm gonna be
Right.
back. I will say this. I'm gonna be back. I think we're gonna have to come back for what do you think, Kimberly, for the Chicago season because Chicago will be a much more diversified city. We're gonna see a lot
Mm-hmm.
more people of color. I'm looking forward to seeing. And so far, it looks like we've got two black brides already. It looks like
Yeah,
on the show.
I'm ready for it. Chicago, here we come.
Here we come, Chicago. Say goodbye to the folks, Kimberly. We're gonna slide on out of here
All
now.
right, take care.
Take care, everybody. See you next week.